Hey guys, today we're going to be drawing an eye using a reference.
I'm Marina and I'm the hands behind Draw with Marina. I'm using an iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil and the Procreate app. If you're new to Procreate, I suggest that you watch my other tutorial, Procreate Tips and Tricks, because as I draw, I'll be using these shortcut actions. I will link that video below. So grab your favorite tea or coffee and let's start drawing.
So first thing I did was just quickly traced the outline of this eye, and then I just grabbed some of the colors from the eye over onto the color palette, but I will most likely just be grabbing the colors as I go, which I will show you. So let's start off with the white of the eyes. I'm just gonna hold my finger over this area right there, and you can see as I drag, it's gonna change because it's grabbing the color from the image. And once I'm happy with the color, it's gonna pop up on my color palette over here. So next we wanna grab an airbrush, and I'm just gonna start another layer underneath my sketch. And we kinda wanna lightly just put the color in. As you can see, I had a smaller brush and that's just way too dark. So we want a big brush, and it doesn't matter if we're going outside of the lines, because we're gonna erase that after. We just want like a nice soft effect. Now you can see that looks way darker than that, but we're gonna keep going and playing around with it until we're happy with the results. So I'm gonna keep grabbing a lighter shade and just applying it. And if it still doesn't look right to you, you can always go into the color wheel over here and just select a lighter color. And just as I say with teeth and the whites of the eyes, it's actually never really white. And here's the blending brush right beside. You can click it and make sure it's also on an airbrush and increase that brush size. And then you can blend the colors together. All right, next we're gonna grab the eraser. Then make sure that the brush is on a monoline brush, and then we're gonna erase the edges. And next we're gonna add a new layer, and we're gonna do the eyeball. So let's go back to the airbrush. Just decrease that brush size a little bit, and we're just gonna outline it first. And then from here we're gonna do the same thing, just grab some color and plop it in. And then we're gonna grab the blending brush. So now I'm just using my brush, and I'm just kind of making these lines go out. And it also helps if you're going in the right direction. Kind of creates that effect of like a sunburst. And now I'm just actually using my airbrush to kind of push the color. So if you can see. And then let's grab our eraser, and then we can erase just this part right here. Now if you're new to Procreate, you could do a really straight line or a curved line. So what you do is you go from your point A all the way to your point B without lifting your pencil. Just hold it, and from here you can see that the line is really straight. So next we're going to start another layer and we're going to do the pupil. So let's grab this black. And the reason for the layers is if you do a mistake, you can just quickly go back and fix it. So I'm just going to toggle between the layers and just do little touch-ups. And then next I'm going to do another layer and we're going to do this reflection right over here. And at this point, I'm just going to erase my sketch, which is on this layer. I'm just going to erase the parts that I've already done. So you see, like, sometimes it's just a little bit jagged over here. I'm just going to fix that up. And then you can see the reflection of the eyelashes. So I'm going to create a new layer just for that. So I have a lash brush. It has all these different types of lashes. I'm just going to grab a really thin brush and then we can just put little strokes. And then from here, we can just begin by touching up. So let's start again with the whites of the eyes. I'm gonna put my alpha lock on. So let's go to the layer and hit alpha lock. And what this does is it locks the layer, so you cannot apply any color outside of what you've already done. So I'm gonna grab this kind of salmon color back with my airbrush. And you can see when I color, it doesn't go outside of the line. So we're gonna do this effect over here. Now we're gonna create some shadow. And to achieve that realistic effect, we can grab just a darker color. And then we're gonna put a shadow kind of right at the edge here. Kind of gives the eye a little bit more depth. And the same thing at the bottom. Don't wanna go overboard on this. All right, so if I zoom up, you can see kind of these little veins happening. So we're gonna try to mimic that. I'm gonna start a new layer. And then I'm just gonna grab just kind of like a dark gray. Then we're gonna grab the thinnest line possible. I'm debating if I should use a monoline or an airbrush. I think I'm gonna do a monoline, really thin. And then we can blend it after if we need to. So I'm just gonna put random lines. And just little subtleties like this, where, you know, if you're looking in the eye, you can kind of see like a darker shade going right over here that kind of looks like veiny a little bit. I don't know. I'm just gonna try to do that as well. So I'm gonna go back into my whites layer. And then you can see some white highlights around the edges. Okay, so let's get into the eyeball. Now, there's lots of techniques to do, I guess, the iris, and what you could do is grab one of these light colors, and you're just gonna have to build layers. So let's start a new layer, and it's gonna be in between this blue and the pupil. So we can stick with the airbrush. We're just gonna be making, I guess, jagged lines, or just lines like this all the way out. And if you look closer, there's all these different shades. So you can build upon each layer just by doing different colors and varying shades. Okay, so I'm gonna add another layer and I'm gonna put it underneath, and then I'm gonna select a darker shade of that blue. All right, next let's just blend this all together. All right, let's merge these two layers together. Grab the airbrush and then blend it. And another way is I think that your Procreate should come with a water brush. So it's this one right here. Kind of creates this veiny effect. So let's try and see what happens when we do that. Again, a new layer for that. And I'm gonna select a lighter blue this time. Okay, that brush is too small. So you want like a bigger brush. And I'm gonna try an even bigger brush. Kind of looks like lightning. And I'm gonna try a white. Might be a bit too much, but we can always blend that. So let's grab the blending brush. We're just kind of softening the edges a little bit. And maybe the opacity needs to go down as well. So here it is close up. It's pretty cool. Well, it doesn't look exactly like that image, but it comes a little bit close. So next up is the lashes. So let's start a new layer. Let's go into my lash brush. Now with the lash brush, what I do is I just push down hard at the beginning and then just flick up. And this is just your quick tutorial on how to draw an eye. Hope you enjoyed it.
For more drawing tutorials and gadget reviews, be sure to subscribe to Draw with Marina.